We generated 1.2 million in only 30 days in e-commerce. And just to prove that this is legit, I'm going to refresh the page so you can see the revenue data here. How did I do it? High performing Google ads. And no, we did not just blow up the advertising spend to reach the $1 million a month mark. Here is the spend for that month. And there was a little bit of Bing spend, about 2K, but that's basically it. And this is the only traffic source for this e-commerce store. Well, how did we do that? All we did was just go through a lot of trial and error over the years that now allows us to scale Google Ads accounts effortlessly. Now that's why I created this video, so that you don't have to spend weeks learning how to create and run the perfect Google Ads strategy for your brand. And by the end of this video, you can instantly start running your own campaign. So why Google Ads? Let's run through some quick Google facts. So what if I told you that 92% of global traffic comes from Google? You probably wouldn't be that surprised, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that cracking the code of Google Ads plays a significant role in the online success and growth of any business, period. To take things a little further, Google had revenue in 2023 of nearly $308 billion. $237 billion of that was directly from the revenue brought in from Google Ads. To give you some context, Meta had about $134 billion, so Google is almost twice as big as Meta. The problem is that the vast majority of people utilizing Google Ads have absolutely zero idea what they're doing. And most of the time, agencies will set you up with some automated campaigns that are kind of a set forget type deal. So they mostly use cookie cutter strategies and they throw absolutely everything at the wall, just kind of praying that it sticks. And most of their strategies are outdated and antiquated. So we know this because we audit Google Ads accounts every single day. In turn, using these antiquated cookie cutter strategies, it's costing you hundreds, if not thousands in wasted dollars while you continue to operate with very low quality traffic, insanely high cost per click, terrible conversion rates, and worst of all, absolute panic. Lack of strategy when it comes to this platform generally leads to poor new customer growth, empty pockets, and a really unclear path to actually growing your business. So in this video, we'll show you exactly how to set up Google Ads to be successful from the start. Okay, so we're going to start off with the campaign types within Google Ads. Of course, there's 5 main campaign types that you can choose from: Google Shopping, Google Search, Performance Max campaigns or PMax, YouTube ads, and then Demand Gen ads. For the purpose of this video and this exercise, we're going to focus on primarily Google Shopping, Google Search, and Performance Max campaigns. YouTube and Demand Gen are kind of a different animal, deserve their own video. Of course, it doesn't mean that the other 2 campaigns don't work. It's just that 80% of e-commerce brands are going to spend or make most of their revenue from these 3 campaign types that we're going to focus on. One thing I want to focus on in relation to Google Ads is your marketing mix. Now, what does marketing mix mean? Marketing mix is where are you getting your traffic from? So what is your marketing mix? Do you have a heavy amount of meta traffic? Do you have a heavy amount of Pinterest traffic? Do you have a heavy amount of organic traffic? Where is your traffic coming from? The reason I want to know that is because that'll have a big effect on the strategy that you choose or the strategy that you stay with in Google Ads. The reason for this is because, let's say, for example, if you have heavy meta traffic, if you're going to run Performance Max campaigns, Performance Max is just going to retarget that traffic and not focus on new customer growth for you. And that's the reason I wanted to put this in here as a caveat. If you've got heavy external traffic, just stick with shopping. If you're using Google only, you can use Performance Max and it'll work just fine for you. Now, I just want to get into account structure before we start. So campaign types, we've already said that we're going to focus primarily on search and shopping, but it's important that we speak about cold and branded traffic and segmenting that traffic out. And the reason that we want to focus on that is because basically you're going to have a different return on ad spend for cold traffic versus your branded traffic. Branded traffic is people looking for your brand. So for example, if my brand's name was Joel's Fire Pits, I would want that keyword to be spent on in a different campaign as opposed to people just searching for fire pits who are not aware of what my name is or what my brand is, right? I'm going to have a different return on ad spend for someone typing in Joel's Fire Pits. They know exactly the fire pit they want to buy. They want to buy it from me versus someone just typing in fire pits. They're still not sure which brand they're going to buy it from. They're not aware of who I am. They're going to be less likely to convert. And I need to know my return on ad spend for cold traffic, which is just fire pits, versus my branded traffic, which is just Joel's Fire Pits. Also allows us to control spend on that branded traffic as well, so that we can spend as little as possible on people looking for our brand, because we still do need to have those campaigns on because we need to protect against competitors, but we'll get into that later. Now, as I said, just the allocation of budget across campaigns, you want to spend majority of your budget on cold campaigns, on cold keywords. In order to grow your revenue, you need to spend on more people that don't know who you are. For that reason, you want to spend a majority of your budget on cold. We're going to go inside the campaigns here and we're going to set up a shopping campaign for cold and a branded campaign. So I'm going to go into Google Ads here. We're going to hit create a campaign. We're going to hit new campaign. Once we hit new campaign, we're going to click on sales. Make sure that your conversion goal is purchases because we want to optimize towards purchases because we want people to buy from us. Click on shopping. Once you click on shopping, you want to make sure that you're selecting your merchant center account so that you can just select it there. It's going to push us towards Performance Max campaigns because it's the new shiny car that Google's got. We don't want to focus on that at all. Click on standard shopping. That's the campaign type we're going to set up. Press continue. We want to call this catch-all test and then we're going to call it cold because it's cold traffic that we're going to focus on. Now, for the bidding, we can choose manual CPC, maximize click, or target ROAS. In this case, we don't want to focus on target ROAS to begin with. Target ROAS, there's not enough revenue in the account. Most people starting with Google Ads, if you've got revenue inside the account, you can start with target ROAS for Google Shopping. But because in this case, we're just going to start off with no revenue for this test, you want to focus on something like maximize clicks or manual CPC. I'm going to focus on maximize clicks. I think it allows Google to get as much data in as possible into the campaign without having to wait around for it to spend. Because if you're choosing manual CPC and TROAS bidding, often it takes a little bit longer to spend and refine your data first. And maximize clicks is a perfectly fine strategy to use to begin with. We want to set up our budget. For this example, we're going to use $100 a day. Now, for the campaign priority, we want to choose high. We want to have the campaign highly active. That's basically what it means. It's a high priority campaign. Now, search networks, we do not want to include Google search partners. We only want to use Google. Our location is United States, totally cool. And the ad group name, so let's just call this catch-all cold test. And we want to hit create campaign. So once we've created the campaign, we're going to be taken to what's called the product group. So you've got campaign, which is a campaign, the ad group, which is the single ad group. What's inside the ad group? The product groups. What products do we want to assign to this shopping campaign? So we can assign all products. You press the plus button here, add subdivision. Now, what this allows us to do is feed through only particular product types. We can do it by just products. We can do it by brands if you're selling brands, and feed through just those specific brands. You can do it by product type. All you have to do is just click on these and then save, or you can do it by item ID, which is just singular products. You can just focus on these two products here and press save. For this example, we're not going to choose any of them. Another example that you can use is custom labels. So you can set up labels that define price points. For this example, we're just going to keep it simple and just do all products here. Now, we don't want to show up for any of our branded search terms. We only want to show up for our cold search terms. So we come over here to search keywords on the left-hand side. Make sure you're inside the campaign. Press the plus button here. And what we want to do is make sure that we've done this at the campaign level. And we want to just put our brand name in here. Make sure you put quotation marks around your brand name. And what that allows it to do is anytime that a phrase that involves your brand name is searched, this campaign will not show at all, and it excludes your brand name entirely. You can use different match types. You can just type your brand name in there without putting the quotation marks in there. We always recommend putting the quotation marks. That allows it to exclude any phrase in relation to your brand name. Now, you might have several brand related searches, so obviously include them all. Sometimes you might have particular products that people are looking for that are related to your brand name products. For this example, we're just going to use brand name. So that's how you exclude them from this shopping campaign to make it only focus on cold search terms. We're just going to go across and we are going to look at our shopping only, catch all test cold. So here's our shopping campaign. Now we're going to set up now our branded campaign. So there's two ways of doing this. We can just copy paste this campaign and change the settings, or we can just create one from scratch. We're going to create one from scratch just to show you guys how to do it. Just go to new campaign again, sales, make sure our purchase tracking's there, continue. We want to set up a shopping campaign. Beautiful. We need to select our Merchant Center account just like before. Click standard shopping, press continue. Come across here. We want to go catch all and we want to go branded test. For branded, with the bidding, we want to use manual CPC. Don't use maximize clicks. Don't use target ROAS. The reason for that is because we want to control and be very controlled in the spend that we want to spend on our branded search terms. Want the budget to be at about, $20 for this. And the campaign priority, this is where it differs. We want to keep that as low. We don't want it to be a highly active campaign. We only want it to focus on those branded search terms. So make sure you keep that as low. Now, networks includes Google search partners. We want to exclude that just like we did before. We want to focus on United States, and we can just call the ad group branded. That should be fine. And we'll start the bids off at $1. That's just a maximum cost per click. It's not what you'll actually pay. You'll either pay above or below that for your branded search terms, depending on how competitive it is. However, we just started off at $1. If we have to increase that over time, we will. It's just a good market to start with for branded search terms. Great campaign. That is how you create a branded shopping campaign. And we don't even have to set up any negative keywords and things like that because we have set them up in the other campaign as a negative keyword. So it's going to feed through any brand related term. The branded campaign will show up for and not the cold campaign. So we'll just see if we can see both the campaigns here. So we've got the branded campaign, we've got the cold campaign, $20 a day for the branded campaign, $100 a day for the cold search campaign. Our customers are going to come through the cold campaign and then come back through the branded campaign when they search for our products. That's just natural. We want to talk about segmentation of campaigns. We've already been through how you can segment out branded campaigns from cold campaigns, and there is other reasons that you can segment out campaigns. That does not mean that you should have 20 campaigns active at one time. You should have a good reason to start a new campaign. And there is 4 reasons that we recommend actually setting up a new campaign for. And any other reason outside of these is generally just overkill. So we'll start off with goal. If you have a different goal for a particular product collection, like runners versus your tracksuit pants, you should have them in different campaigns, right? Often this involves things like margins. If your margins are different for your tracksuit pants versus your runners, you should have them in separate campaigns and set a different desired goal to Google for those specific product categories, right? Because the goal or the bidding strategy is set at the campaign level, meaning if you're going to set a lower goal or a higher goal for a particular product category, you must segment them out by campaign. Now, another reason is location. So if you've got different markets that you sell in USA, Australia, Europe, or New Zealand, you should segment that out by campaign. The reason for that is because you'll have a different return on ad spend for each country, and therefore you're going to allocate budget very differently for each location. Winners and losers. So over time, you're going to develop best sellers, you're going to develop some medium sellers, and then you're going to develop some low performers. It's important once you start to notice those best sellers, looking at some of your sales data, you start to segment them out, put more budget behind those best sellers and scale those up. Seasonality. So only if you're really highly seasonal would you do this. But if, let's say, for example, if you're an apparel store and you've got some shorts in one of your product categories and then the other product category is jumpers or winter related products, they're going to be highly seasonal. You should separate those out by campaign. So then you can up budgets and sort of increase and decrease budgets in summer versus winter for each particular product category. So only if highly seasonal would you do that. If all of your products are just basically the same season, like if you only sell winter products, you can just all keep them in the same campaign, obviously, and just up the budgets and decrease the budgets based on those seasonal metrics. So we're going to go inside the account here and we're actually going to do some keyword research. So just go over to the side here to go to tools, go to planning, and then you want to go to keyword planner. Once this loads through, you want to go to discover new keywords. You want to make sure that you've got the right country, target market, and then what you want to do is just put in one of the seed keywords. So we sell fire pits. What we want to do is put that seed keyword in and just see what other keywords it'll get. The reason I call it a seed keyword is because we're putting fire pits in, but there's going to be thousands and thousands of other related searches to fire pits that are going to show up in terms of the results here. And fire pits is really the seed behind all of those keywords. So just think of the highest level keyword behind your particular niche. So for example, you might sell water bottles. So just put water bottle in, but you might have a heap of different variations. And using water bottle as the seed keyword, you'd be able to see all the other keywords that are related to that. So for example, here we put in fire pits, but it's also given us the keyword ideas of smokeless fire pit, propane fire pit, gas fire pit, outdoor fire pit, all of these different ones. We don't want to target keywords like fire pits. It's got 246,000 people searching for that a month. We sell very premium fire pits with this particular company, $2,000 to $3,000. People that are just searching in fire pits, they could be looking for a $20 fire pit, a $50 fire pit. They could be looking for a fire pit remote control, fire pit maintenance, so many different things. There's high level of ambiguity there. We want to get a little bit more specific with the keywords we want to target. So what we'll do is we'll just have a look through here, see the particular ones that we can target that make sense for our business. And what you can do is, let's say we want to pick natural gas fire pit, a number of others, and then you can copy them. And then what you want to do is you want to go over to a Google Sheet. Now we've already filled this out in advance. So you want to have these three columns. You want to have your keywords there that you've chosen. You want to have your theme, and then you want to have your ad group. And I'll take you through each of these steps here. So we've chosen these keywords because they align with what we sell. So we do sell concrete fire pits, we sell outdoor fire pits, we sell propane and natural gas fire pits, and we sell eco-friendly fire pits there. We want to divide these into themes, right? So what traditionally happened in Google Ads is that you would set up a different ad group for every one of these keywords that you target, and then you'd make the headline match what the keyword is, right? But what we want to do now, it's just not the strategy to use because it just segments, it's overcomplicated, and it actually doesn't help the Google algorithm whatsoever. We want to put things into themes, and that helps the Google algorithm, and it actually creates a far more scalable campaign. Here, so we've got concrete fire pit, cement fire pit. We're going to group them into the outdoor theme because they mean the same thing. Propane and natural gas, we're going to group them into the gas theme because they mean the same thing. Bio fire pit and eco-friendly fire pit, they're going to be grouped into the bio/eco theme. So we're going to create different groups around different themes. So having a look inside our Google Ads here, we can actually see that we have set this up. So inside here, we have our ad groups. So we have the outdoor ad group, we have the gas and the concrete and the bio/eco. As we see, we can click inside here, we can see the keywords that we're targeting. So we're targeting these two keywords here. And then our ads are actually focused on that particular theme. If I'm searching in concrete fire pit on Google, I want to see an ad that says shop concrete fire pits online. I want it to be centric to what I'm searching in. If I'm typing in concrete fire pits on Google, I don't want an ad to show up that is in relation to propane fire pits. I still might click on that, but I'm going to be far more likely to click on something that says concrete fire pits there. So all the copy is in relation to that. And that's how we set up these ad groups in order to be very relevant to the customer and also be relevant to specific themes that we want to target. So the keywords we're targeting here, we're actually using exact match targeting. So you can use phrase match or broad match. I recommend always starting with exact match. That means that we're only targeting people that are specifically looking for the specific search terms that we've defined here and nothing outside of that. So it's going to be very linear, very refined targeting. It allows us to validate those keywords and then see over time if they start to convert, and then we can upgrade them to a broader match for scale. So we're going to move into negative keywords now. Now, what does negative keywords mean? So negative keywords within shopping campaigns, you don't actually have any keywords that you specifically target. You don't have keywords that you tell Google, hey, I want to specifically target these. What Google does is it uses your data feed, so your product titles and a number of other attributes that you send to Google through Google Merchant Center, and it actually shows your products to a particular pool of keywords based on those determining factors that would be relevant to customers. So for example, if you have have your product title is see-through fireplace, it would show your product to those particular keywords. And in order to actually refine the keywords that we're targeting, because sometimes Google puts us in front of the wrong keywords, we can actually use negative keywords to exclude keywords that we're showing up for from that particular campaign. So what you do is we're inside the shopping campaign here. So if we just go back here to the campaign, so we just clicked inside the campaign here, and then we went to search terms. Search terms are just the keywords that you're showing up for. And then you just look down here at the ones that we're getting clicks for. And it looks like most of these are relatively fine. This is a fireplace related shopping campaign. The only problem that I have here is that we're showing up for a particular brand name here that we don't want to show up for. We want to only show up for cold search terms. And we're also showing up for another brand name here. So what we want to do here is click on these and add them as negative keywords. These are as exact match. Remember we spoke of the exact match before. So only when someone is exactly searching this are we excluding them. We're using those brackets, right? But we don't want to show up for anyone searching in for that particular brand name at all. So we're going to use phrase match. We're going to put quotation marks next to it. So instead, any phrase that involves that brand name doesn't show up inside this campaign. So we're going to use that on both of these here. And then we're going to just press the campaign level here, and then we're going to save. So that means that those two brand names will never show up for any phrase that's in relation to those two brand names at all using negative keywords. You can do this both in shopping campaigns. You can actually still do it in search campaigns as well. It's just that it's more prevalent in shopping campaigns because obviously within search campaigns, you can target specific keywords. So it's a little bit better at its targeting because you're actually defining what you're targeting. Whereas with shopping campaigns, you're kind of relying on the Google algorithm to show you in front of the right keywords. And it's your job to actually use negative keywords to get rid of things that you don't want to show up for. Now, I want to talk about bidding. As I said before, we can actually define the bidding strategy at the campaign level. We can also do it at the ad group level, but for this particular example, we can do it at the campaign level. So we just go here inside the campaign, we want to click on settings. And then what we want to do is we're going to look at bidding here. We've set the target ROAS here at 200%. That means for every dollar we spend, we expect to receive $2 in return. Obviously, people have different goals. Some people expect a 14x return on ad spend. Some people expect a 10x return on ad spend, 7x return on ad spend. We're going to need a 2x return on ad spend for this particular campaign. So we set it up as 200% target return on ad spend. You set that at the campaign level. If you had a particular product group that you wanted to have a higher target ROAS for, I typically segment that out into its own campaign, just so you can allocate a smaller budget to that if it's a lower margin product. But you can also do that at the ad group level. So you can set the target ROAS as here. If you want multiple ad groups here, you can set a different target ROAS. You might have one at 7x ROAS and you might have one at 2x ROAS. Typically think if you do it at the ad group level, like if you're segmenting out the ad group, it'll just focus on the one with the lower target ROAS. I suggest doing it on its own campaign, but that is how you can actually define target return on ad spends to Google and say, hey, for every dollar we spend, we expect $10 in return. And then once you actually define that to Google, it's a matter of upping budgets and getting a more predictable return by using that automated bidding strategy. I'll just show you guys an example of this, right? So if we're going to do this by margin, so you might have products that have a best margin, medium margin, or low margin, and you can set different return on ad spends for each particular product line. So for a best margin product, you might only need a 3x return on ad spend, and therefore you can use a 300x TROAS strategy in your campaigns. Medium margin, you might expect a 5x return on ad spend, so you can set up a 500% TROAS, and then low margin is 700%. You expect a 7x return on ad spend. Now, in terms of sales volume too, you can set it up like this. You could have segmentation by campaign. So you have a best sellers campaign, a medium sellers campaign, a low performers campaign based on sales data. You can just allocate more budget to the best sellers and less budget to the medium sellers. We've been able to do this for a number of brands. In particular, one brand last month, we were able to segment this out and actually scale budget on the best sellers. We're able to take that brand from 600K a month to 1.2 million a month with Google Ads. Few best practices. Now, I want to run through here ad copy best practices. So there's 5 core components of high converting ad copy, right? So you got your USP. So what's your unique selling proposition? So for example, you might have energy efficient 5 hits. So that might be a unique selling proposition that you might want to include in your headlines. You might want to include your brand name. A call to action is important to include. So shop now, shop the entire range, browse the entire collection, telling people what they should do next. Emotion. So you might appeal to someone's certain emotions within your Google Ads headlines. So for example, you might appeal to their trust and use things like reviews in your headlines, trusted by 1,000+ customers. And then of course, the most important factor is relevancy to keyword. Let's take you inside one of the campaigns and we'll go and show you exactly how to do this. So we're inside one of our search campaigns here. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at one of the ads where I can show you how to set up the headlines, the descriptions, all of the ad copy in relation to being specific to the keyword, using a USP, using brand, using a call to action as well. I don't think with this one we are using a brand because we're focusing on cold search terms. But basically, this is how an ad looks inside Google Ads. So you have your collection set up for a particular product line that you're focusing on. And then you've got your display path here. So concrete 5 hits. Remember, we're targeting those concrete related the keywords with this particular ad. We've got basically relevancy to keyword here. This one we can actually pin as the first one in the ad so that it always shows up. So whenever someone's searching in for concrete fire pits, the first ad line that actually shows up is shop concrete fire pits online. It's also important to mention that we are taking up as many characters as possible. You can't go over 30 characters, but you want to take up as many as possible. We're also using USP here, so durable and long-lasting warmth. We're also appealing to people's desires there with transform your outdoor space, and then even, appealing to people's budgets, so quality fire pits at a low price. And then we've got 2 call to actions here: order yours online now, and then order now ships next day. So those are 2 call to actions at the end there. And then what you want to do with your descriptions, you want to take up as many characters as possible. It's basically just an extended version of your headlines. So cozy up with affordable modern fire pits designed to last. Shop our collection now. You can also include your images as well. So we included the 2 concrete fire pit images here. Obviously, you got your business name and your business logo. Site links operate as sort of like sub headlines underneath your main headlines within your Google Ads search text campaigns. What they allow you to do is take up more real estate on Google. When people are searching for your particular products, it takes up more space on the page and therefore makes your ad more clickable. You want to just focus on things that are more relevant to that specific product that you're selling. So people searching in concrete fire pits, I've got some site links set up here for propane fire pits, outdoor fire pits, and then also some different USPs of shopping with us, free and fast shipping at price beat guarantee. You obviously just set these up by just adding them in here. You've got the site link text, which is the main headline, and then you've just got some different descriptions, and then you've got the page that it relates to there. So you can just create new ones here just there. And then you've also got your more asset types here. So you've got promotions. So you can set up a particular promotion that might be relevant to your particular product line. You put your phone number in there. You can put in some call outs. So call outs are just little things that show up below the ad that might speak to your USPs, like 0 sales tax, live chat us now, lowest prices online, sale on now and soon. And that is how you want to set up your search text ads. So we'll save that ad now. And as you can see, that is in relation to concrete fire pits. So very relevant to the specific theme that we want to target. Now we want to get into some of the ways to scale your Google Ads campaigns. There's so much data available to you within Google Ads. You can find winning audiences, winning locations, time of day that you're more likely to convert. Time of day is probably less important to me. I don't believe it's super important, but audiences and location is definitely something you want to hone in on. So you can actually just go into your campaigns here. Let's say, for example, we want to look at this particular campaign that we've set up. You can go into audiences here. You can just show the table here. There's one audience attached to this, and you might see that that particular audience is converting at a far higher rate than other audiences, for example. So we just look at the campaign view here. You can add in more audiences too. So if you just want to add some more ones in, always add them in as observation. We can add in some fireplace audiences that might be relevant to our particular niche here. I don't believe there'll be any related ones. Outdoor items might be relevant to us. Probably not fireplaces if we're selling. It doesn't look like there's anything else. Do-it-yourselfers, maybe. It's an affinity audience. Home decor enthusiasts, perhaps. Let's do fireplaces because some people call outdoor fireplaces fire pits outdoor. Again, it's just going to use this as observation. It's just going to observe these audiences for us so we can refine that later. Outdoor furniture sets. I mean, a lot of people that buy outdoor furniture sets buy fire pits as well. So that's something we might want to include here so we can save that. We have all this data available to us in here. And over time, we're going to see the costs associated with each person that's found in each audience. We're going to actually see ones that convert at a better rate than others. And what you can do is you can hone in your spend on those particular audiences. You can increase your bids on particular audiences if it allows us to here. It can allow you to, let's say, for example, home and garden, do it yourself, converting at a higher rate. We can click on that here. We can edit, change bid adjustments, and we can increase our bids by 50% for that particular audience. So that's a way of making sure that you're spending more on the particular audiences that are converting. And by the same token, if we're finding that that's converting far less than others, we can actually change bid adjustments and decrease our bids by 50% for that particular audience if it's not converting that well. Another one is locations. So we can look at particular locations that are converting at higher rates than others. So you can click on the United States here. We can subdivide that by states. So look at particular states that it's converting on. We might see some all-time data here. This is an old campaign. And as we can see different costs associated with different states, and we can start to increase bids on particular states here. Those are the sorts of things that you can look at in order to see what's actually converting at a more granular level. Are there different audiences that are converting at a higher rate than others? And then we can start to increase or decrease spend based on those things. And we can allocate a higher budget to the campaign, knowing that it's going to focus more on those particular good audiences and locations because we've set up those bid adjustments. Now, segmentation. This is a huge one that frankly a lot of people don't do. Segmenting your winners into your own campaign. Over time, you're going to have product categories that just convert at a higher rate than others. You're going to have particular product categories that you notice within Google Ads have 200% more conversions than other product categories. So it's important, instead of leaving them in the campaign with all the other mid-performing or low-performing products, that we segment them out into their own campaign. The reason we want to do that is because we want to allocate more spend behind those particular product categories. If we are to leave them all in the same campaign with the mid-performing products and the low performing products. As we add more budget to that campaign, that's all in the same campaign, there's no guarantee that it's going to allocate that spend towards the best performing products. There is a likelihood that it will just balance that spend out across a number of mid-performing products and low-performing products, as well as the best sellers. So we just want to allocate as much spend as possible behind the things that are working and generating the most amount of revenue for us. We've seen a huge amount of success doing this for our clients. Now, automated bidding. Now, you don't want to do this until you've got at least 30 conversions in a month for a particular campaign. So you need one campaign to have more than 30 conversions for the month. Then you can start using automated bidding. If you use it beforehand, in all likelihood, Google won't be able to reach your targets because they have no revenue data to meet your particular TROAS target or TCBA target to just define those for you. So if you're setting a TROAS target, you're saying to Google, hey, for every $1 spent, we expect $7 in return. So 7x return. TCBA target, if you set a TCBA of $80, you're basically saying to Google, hey, for every $80 spent, we expect a conversion. If you set it before 30 conversions in a month, it just simply won't be able to reach that target because it doesn't have enough data in the algorithm, and it will just stop spending. It will kill the campaign because it'll say, hey, we can't do this for you. Once you get to that point and you start using that particular strategy, you can scale quite predictably because Google's got enough data to be able to meet that target, and then you can start upping budget in a more predictable manner and still achieving that target that Google is able to achieve because it's got enough conversion data there. So that's a really good way to scale, and we've been able to do that for our client that we've taken from $600K a month to $1.2 million a month using TROAS bidding strategies, and it has been quite fruitful, obviously, because we got there within 30 days. Now, upgrade to PMax once you can establish high performers or meet the benchmarks. So what do I mean by that? So once you've achieved your particular benchmark that you want to achieve, so you might have wanted to achieve a 3x return on ad spend, or you might want to achieve a 10x return on ad spend. Once you've achieved that with better performing products, you can upgrade to Performance Max and expect to scale in a much more linear fashion because Performance Max can do that prospecting a little bit better than Shopping can. It's got more scope to do that. One caveat on this though, and I spoke about this in the start of the video. If you've got heavy external traffic, if you've got heavy meta traffic, if you've got heavy Pinterest traffic, organic traffic, do not upgrade to Performance Max campaigns. It's just going to retarget that traffic from the external sources. It's not going to focus on growth for you. It's not going to focus on that cold traffic that you want. So do not do that if you have heavy external traffic. If Google is your only primary traffic source, definitely upgrade to this after you've achieved your goals with shopping and achieved those benchmark KPIs, that benchmark ROAS goal that you set out. Upgrade maybe even one product collection at a time to Performance Max campaigns and test that out. And you might be able to achieve a far more scalability and growth with Performance Max campaigns if Google is your only ad platform, because it does that prospecting a little bit better than shopping campaigns do. And so that was how we made $1.2 million in only 30 days using Google Ads for one of our clients. By the way, YouTube thinks that you should check out this video here. Let's see if that's true. Thanks for watching.